What a Sunday of football we just witnessed. If you missed any of the action from yesterday's slate of NFL games, don't worry, I've got you covered with a full recap of all the madness. Let's dive right in. Starting with the early window, we had some absolute nail-biters. The AFC showdown between the Bills and the Dolphins was a high-scoring affair that came down to the final possession. Josh Allen was slinging it all over the field, but Tua Tagovailoa and the Dolphins' speedy receivers answered every single time. It was a back-and-forth battle, with both defenses struggling to get a stop. In the end, a last-second field goal sealed the deal, sending one team home with a crucial divisional win. The stadium was electric, and you could feel the playoff implications with every single snap. What a statement win for the victors. Meanwhile, in the NFC, the Eagles took on the Cowboys in a rivalry game that lived up to all the hype. The animosity between these two teams is legendary, and it was on full display. The defenses came to play in this one. We saw big hits, timely turnovers, and a chess match between the offensive coordinators. Dak Prescott tried to rally his team late in the fourth quarter, but the Eagles' secondary held strong, making a game-sealing interception in the end zone. The crowd in Philly went absolutely wild. This win puts the Eagles in a fantastic position in the NFC East race. Another game that had everyone on the edge of their seats was the clash between the Chiefs and the Ravens. Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, two of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the league, put on a show. It was a classic contrast of styles. Mahomes was extending plays with his legs and making impossible throws, while Jackson was a nightmare for the Chiefs' defense with his speed and agility in the open field. The lead changed hands multiple times, and it felt like whoever had the ball last would win. The final 2 minutes were pure chaos, with incredible plays on both sides of the ball. This one will be on highlight reels for the rest of the season. Let's not forget about the upset of the day. The struggling Panthers, who came in as heavy underdogs, went on the road and stunned the 49ers. Nobody saw this coming. The Panthers' defense, which has been inconsistent all year, played its best game of the season, forcing multiple turnovers and putting constant pressure on the quarterback. Their offense did just enough, controlling the clock with a strong running game and making timely completions. It just goes to show you that on any given Sunday, any team can win in this league. This loss is a tough pill to swallow for the 49ers and their Super Bowl aspirations. Moving over to the late afternoon games, the action didn't slow down one bit. The Green Bay Packers and the Minnesota Vikings renewed their historic rivalry at Lambeau Field. The weather was a factor, with cold temperatures and a swirling wind making things difficult for the passing game. It turned into a ground-and-pound classic. Both teams relied heavily on their star running backs who churned out tough yards all day long. Jordan Love and the Packers' offense made a few more key plays down the stretch, and their defense came up with a huge fourth down stop late in the game to secure the victory. A huge win for Green Bay in front of their home crowd. Out on the West Coast, the Los Angeles Rams hosted the Seattle Seahawks in a game with massive NFC playoff implications. Matthew Stafford was dealing, connecting with his star receivers for several big plays. The Rams' offense looked explosive and seemed to be clicking on all cylinders. But the Seahawks, known for their resilience, never gave up. Geno Smith led a furious fourth-quarter comeback, making clutch throw after clutch throw to get his team back in the game. It came down to the final play, a potential game-winning field goal attempt that had everyone holding their breath. What a finish to a critical divisional matchup. Let's talk about some breakout performances. A rookie wide receiver for the Houston Texans absolutely went off. He was uncoverable, hauling in over 150 receiving yards and a couple of spectacular touchdowns. He looks like a future superstar and a building block for that franchise. On the defensive side, a pass rusher for the Detroit Lions had a career day, recording multiple sacks and living in the opponent's backfield. His relentless motor was a huge reason the Lions were able to pull out a close victory over the Chicago Bears. That game was another divisional slugfest that came down to the wire. The Sunday night football game was the perfect way to cap off an incredible day of football. The Cincinnati Bengals traveled to face the Pittsburgh Steelers in a primetime FC North clash. The energy in that stadium was palpable. Joe Burrow and the Bengals' high-powered offense were tested by the Steelers' physical and aggressive defense. We saw some huge hits and a lot of trash talk. It was a low-scoring defensive struggle for most of the game, a throwback to old-school football. Every yard was earned the hard way. In the end, a critical turnover in the fourth quarter proved to be the difference maker, swinging the momentum and ultimately deciding the outcome. It was a gritty, hard-fought win for one team, and a devastating loss for the other in the tight race for the division crown. So, what does all this mean for the playoff picture? The AFC is an absolute logjam, with several teams sitting with similar records, all fighting for those coveted wildcard spots. Every week from here on out is essentially a playoff game. In the NFC, the top teams are starting to separate themselves, but the race for the final wildcard positions is heating up. Teams that got big wins yesterday, like the Eagles and Packers, have put themselves in a great spot, while teams that suffered tough losses, like the 49ers and Cowboys, have less room for error moving forward. We saw incredible athletic plays, brilliant coaching adjustments, and the raw emotion that makes this sport so great. From last-second field goals to game-sealing interceptions, yesterday had it all. It reminds us why we love the NFL, the unpredictability, the drama, and the sheer excitement of it all. We're heading into the final stretch of the regular season, and if yesterday was any indication, we are in for a wild ride to the finish. The stakes are getting higher and higher with each passing week. That's a wrap on our full recap of yesterday's NFL games. What a day it was. Which game was your favorite? What was the most surprising result in your opinion? Let me know down in the comments below. I love reading your thoughts and talking football with all of you. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want to stay up to date with all the NFL action, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of our future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.